I need you to die and make a funny face for a video intro. Please and thank you. I was trying to get into something without clicking. Oh, I did get into something without looking. Uh-oh, I wonder what I'm doing.
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed to the world of Last Epoch. Mike, one of the senior developers from 11th Hour Games, held his normal Friday Q&A live stream on Twitch, which means I get to bring you Dev Chat 83. As always, Mike answered lots of great questions from the community and gave us some new teasers. Now, before we get into this, I just want to say I have been playing the LECT, the community testers, for quite a while. And I have been dying to share all of the major changes. This coming Friday, the 27th, I will be able to stream and play with friends LE. So come back this Friday or during the weekend. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Dev Chat 83, let's start with our first little leak. Mike, go.
To play with it. So just let that hang out there for a little bit.
I jumped in chat and was like, what is that? We're gonna get a little leak within a leak with this question.
Any cool, new, unique melee two-handed weapons that you can show? I don't have any that I can show right now, no. But I've got one sitting on like a little notepad, like a sticky note on my desktop. Not a physical one, but a digital one. An idea for a two-handed sword that I'm hoping to pitch probably on Tuesday, actually.
Oh, what is this sword? Now, as someone that mains Necro, okay, I could tell you that these are new Acolyte icons. Looks like they continue to up the visuals in LE, and I love that they showcased Acolyte. Talks a little Runemaster, but really the approach to Masteries from EHG.
This is what I mean, like, Runemaster sounds fun. I'm a huge Trapper class fan. Don't assume a playstyle based on what's written in there. Like, it could be very different, it could be very similar. I don't know what's written there right now. Dentalist has gifted a sub to Lizard IRL. Congrats, Lizard!
Congrats, Lizard!
Death Streak alive!
Give Mike a sec.
Don't worry, Dentalist. It's gonna be a ton of fun. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be even better than before. I got your back, don't worry.
I can't wait to get access to the new Masteries
a little
in
bit
the CT.
Over the last little bit. I am quite confident that you'll be pleased with the offerings on the three Master classes this year.
He wants a Trapper class. Can't say, but he'll be happy. Huh?
And we do try and focus Masteries in on a theme or a mechanic, and sometimes both, and try and make things. We would rather have people look at a Mastery at all the Masteries. There's 15 of them. We would rather, it's kind of two scenarios. We'd rather people look at them and say, like, love it, hate it, love it, hate it, love it, hate it, love it, hate it, rather than meh, 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 meh. Because love it means that you've got things to do that you're really excited about, and just a bunch of mess meaning like, okay, well, nothing's terrible, but nothing's really like good either.
Bingo. Now we're gonna let Mike talk a little bit about how to balance multiplayer. No easy
how
feat.
How you balance out classes when multiplayer comes along, and when the game launches, some class combinations might have a clear advantage over others when combined. How do you plan to balance out those things, keep everything feeling good? I mean, so there's going to be, no matter what, there is objectively going to be certain combinations that have a higher maximum potential than others. There's also going to be some combinations that have a higher average potential than others. I think these are two really important terms to keep in mind and look at. And I guess what it means is basically, if you take these two, say we're looking at like really obvious examples of this is a paladin and a necromancer. If you have two people play,
because I would be giving you Dreadshade and you'd be giving me Holy Aura. Maybe. I've already tested this.
And doing normal paladin things and doing normal necromancer things, and you stick them in a room together, chances are very good that they're going to work really well together. And sort of they're just like average potential that class is good, that class combination is going to do is probably better than a Forge Guard and a Spellblade. I would suggest that those two have less inherent synergies. There's some cool stuff they can do actually, but I'd say there's generally less inherent synergies.
Forge Guard needs a little love.
And so like if we just stick two random people in the room together that are doing normal things to their class and how else they work together compared to if you've got two groups of people picking whichever class they want and making the best synergies possible, which is how a lot of people are going to form groups, which we expect. And so there's those two scenarios are something that we look at, and we try and keep systems working well for both types of situations. And then also someone playing on their own as well. And sometimes it's really easy to target those if there is something that gets, and this is the same balancing philosophy we've had from the start, which I think generally has worked pretty well. And we've adjusted the fine details on how we do it quite a bit since the start. And I think we've gotten better at it overall, but it still is tricky, and it's a whole new dynamic in multiplayer, whereby if you've got some class or some combination of classes that is really significantly better than everything else, like that is head and shoulders above everything else, yeah, it needs the nerf pad. But the important thing to note here, I think, is that when you're doing that, to try to keep that combination or that like even just individual class in a position where it is still in that top tier. It's still so you have something that's to 100% is the average end game expected power level that most classes will fit into, that's considered like viable for end game. So you've got like this this line that's the viable line. And you know, most things, like most combinations that are well thought out and planned properly and executed well, are going to be on or above that. And then every once in a while you get something that's, and let's say that's in the like 100 to 115% range, 120% range, let's say. And then you've got dozens of combinations that's sitting below that, say in the 60 to 80% range, and they're kind of crap. And that's fine that there are combinations that aren't as good and there are combinations that are better. These numbers I'm pulling out of my butt here, so they're probably completely wildly off, but that's fine. I'm just trying to illustrate a point. And say you have then one build or one combination of builds that's in that like 150 or 200% power range. It's just so much better. Yeah, you've got to hit it pretty hard with the nerf pad. But then still keeping it in that that top tier of like 100 to 120% range, where it still is definitely above that line, and in the top set of those things above the line as well, is important. So you're taking that build and you're bringing it in line with the other very powerful builds, not dropping it down to be just an average range. And that's sort of the line we've tried to walk on.
What's important in this ramble is a lot of times a meta build ends up getting nerfed into the ground. Not saying in LE, but generically across ARPGs. Oh, this was my favorite build. It was the best. And then they nerfed it where now it doesn't even compete. It's no longer fun. Where in LE, you know, they're going to make small changes, but still make it top tier. So it'll still be the best. It's just not going to be broken. Now, what you have to be careful for is sometimes, maybe I've tested where single player, this is not broken, but in multiplayer, it now is. And if that's the case, and then you nerf it, then you're hurting, you know, you're taking away from the single player aspect because of how it functions in multiplayer. So it's going to add a whole new balancing act once we get 090. Leak number 2, and I have been dying to talk about this and show it. What is it?
This looks really terrible on my preview window. Let me know if you can actually read it or not. There's some interesting stuff here. It's more than one thing kind of wrapped up in a nice little bundle.
I'll just go ahead and pause this here. The image on the screen right now shows 2 new affixes coming to gear. And just to be clear, there is more to show than just this, but this is a good start, okay, as far as what we can talk about. Increased area for area skills. There's going to be an area tag now for skills. So, for example, if you had like a tier 7 area for area skills, what would that do to your meteor? What would that do to your skills that are AoE? On top of that, something that people have been talking about is how do you scale throwing damage? Well, you now have a base throwing stat. And since you now have a base, that means it's going to be way easier to scale the damage. This is huge. If you've played the game, these 2 affixes are huge, truly game changers, and maybe there's more to come. Leak 3.
Spoiler now. A little teaser. I think we've shown something related to this, or possibly this before. I don't know, but it's a really great video, so I wanted to pop it up here. Drink lots of water.
That is not an enemy. That will be your bear companion.
Just a little bear boy.
For Primalist. Only looks a little better. Gotta see it in action.
So that is the style and quality that all of these summons are going to get to.
All right, everyone. Unfortunately, we have come to our final question of Dev Chat 83. Mike, thank you as always for continuing these Friday live streams. The community truly appreciates it. Always a good time. And by the way, this coming Friday, I expect you to jump in the stream at least once, or maybe Saturday and Sunday. It's up to you. I want to see you. All right. Final question. First, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon. I really liked this little conversation because people always talk about RNG and crafting. This is chaos.
Chaos. Is it a bug, or is it currently so that when you are using Glyph of Chaos, it seems to have such a big chance of rolling back the initial stat you glyphed with Glyph of Chaos? So I think what you mean is like if you chaos away something, like you, like we chaos something away, it's not vitality anymore, and then we chaos it again, the frequency that goes back to vitality, the first thing that it was when you chaos it again, like that being high. That is that being high is strictly confirmation bias and coincidence. There is literally nothing in there. As far as it's concerned, it is it has no memory of what it was. There's no way it can know what the stat was there. There's like yeah. there's nothing for it to revert back to it. It's a completely isolated incident. There's no memory in the crafting system. Every single time you press that button, it's an isolated incident. Which is important to note that there's no pity system, there's no RNG smoothing system, there's no like every 20 crafts, one's free no matter what if you haven't got a free one in those 20 or something like that. There's no systems like that.